Imagine for a moment that reality isn't random, that beneath the chaos of daily life, there's a hidden code pulsing through everything. What if every sunrise, every spiral in a seashell, every city skyline, and even your own heartbeat are all part of an ancient language, a language written in number, pattern, and form? Today, you're not just pressing play on another video. You're about to step into a portal, a doorway into the secret script that underlies all creation. We're pulling back the curtain on the silent architecture of the universe, revealing the symbols, cycles, and proportions that shape your world in ways you've never considered. This is more than information. It's an invitation. Once you glimpse the pattern, you can never see the world the same way. Stay with me, and together we'll unlock the universal language you already carry in your bones, the language that connects you to everything. So what is the universal language? It's not English or Mandarin or any tongue you were taught as a child. The universal language is symbolism, number, form, and the mysterious correspondences that link them. Regardless of where or how you were raised, these patterns speak to you. They're woven into the fabric of reality, and we're going to decode them together. Today, we're surrounded by sacred numbers, hidden in clocks, calendars, architecture, and the geometry of the body itself. Yet, most of us never pause to consider their deeper meaning. We measure our days in hours, our feet in inches, our circles in degrees, but we rarely contemplate the symbolic power of these numbers or the ancient intelligence behind them. Let's begin with time, the cycle that rules every life. A day is 24 hours. That's 1,440 minutes. Let that number soak into your mind. It's not arbitrary. It's a carrier of information and meaning, used by the ancients to encode the rhythm of the world. If we follow this pattern, 1,440 minutes become 86,400 seconds. Notice the symmetry, the beautiful divisibility. These numbers are not random, they're keys. The story continues. Half a day is 720 minutes, or 43,200 seconds. See the relationship? 43,200 is half of 86,400, and 720 is half of 1,440. Already, you can sense a hidden design, an architecture of time that the ancient architects used to craft not just their calendars, but their temples, their rituals, their sense of order itself. And these are not the only numbers. In the world of measurement, we find the foot divided into 12 inches, which a square foot is 144 square inches. Add a zero, and you're back to 1,440, the number of minutes in a day. A cubic foot becomes 1,728, and a square yard is 1,296 square inches. Tack on a zero to 1,296, and you get 12,960, a number of profound significance in the cycles of the Earth. Geometry is no less magical. The circle, divided into 360 degrees, is the template for measuring not just space, but time. Each degree subdivided into 60 minutes of arc, and those into 60 seconds. That's 21,600 minutes of arc in a circle, or 1,296,000 seconds of arc, raising the same numbers by orders of magnitude, echoing the square yard's 1,296 inches. Notice something else. Most of these sacred numbers, 1,440, 86,400, 43,200, 144, 1,728, 1,296, when added together reduced to 9. The number 9 recurs again and again as a kind of signature, a reminder that these are not only measures of space and time, but carriers of hidden meaning. Write them down, make a note, because as we venture deeper, these numbers will reveal their power. Let's touch the alphabet of sacred geometry, the primal forms from which all structure arises. Begin with the circle, a special case of the ellipse, eccentricity 0, unity, wholeness, the womb of creation. Add the equilateral triangle, 3 sides, each with 60 degrees, summing to 180. The square, 4 angles of 90, total 360. Again, the circle's measure reveals itself in the square. Move to the pentagon, 5 angles of 108, totaling 540. Once more, reducing to 9. The pentagon's 108 is a lunar number, a rhythm of the moon, and even the atomic weight of silver. These correspondences aren't random. They're echoes of harmony, the kind that ancients used to encode spiritual and practical meaning into every form. Now let's animate the solids, the Platonic solids, the 5 regular polyhedra that Plato called the building blocks of the cosmos. The tetrahedron, 4 faces, all equilateral triangles, each face 180 degrees. 4 times 180 is 720. The cube, 6 faces, each 360 degrees, totaling 2,160. This number, 2,160, is not only the geometry of the cube, but as we'll see, it's the measure of cycles in the sky. The octahedron, 8 triangular faces, again echoing 180, totaling 1,440. Our day in minutes, our star tetrahedron, the rhythm of time and space. The icosahedron, 20 faces, 3,600 degrees, another 9. The dodecahedron, 12 faces, each a pentagon, each 540, total 6,480. You're seeing the pattern, the redundancy, the resonance. There's a deeper secret here. These numbers aren't just abstract. They're echoes of natural cycles, embedded in the turning of the earth, the precession of the skies, the geometry of human ritual, the blueprint of the body. Let's look at time through the lens of the ancients. The precessional cycle, the slow rotation of the Earth's axis, spans 25,120 years. This is the great cosmological year, the third motion of the Earth after the daily spin and the yearly orbit. Divide this great cycle by 4 for the 4 cosmic seasons, and you get 6,480 years, the dodecahedron's secret number. The ancients saw this as the heartbeat of world ages, the rhythm behind myth, prophecy, and the rise and fall of civilizations. Surrounding this great year, we find echoes, the Chaldean Saros cycle of 3,600 years, the icosahedron's measure. The Platonic month, 2,160 years, the cube. Each subdivision carries the same sacred numbers, fractally recurring at different scales. The sacred calendar of 360 days, used in Egypt, Greece, Sumeria, and Mesoamerica, encoded a cosmos of harmony. 5 unlucky days were added, echoing the symmetry of the circle and the square. The Sumerians, who first divided the circle into 360 degrees, believed this number could be mapped onto the year, each degree a day, the cosmic dance encoded in the language of time. As we move through these cycles, we see the same numbers: 1,440, 14,400, 43,200, 129,600, repeating across cultures, epochs, and disciplines. Each is a mnemonic, a key to a whole constellation of meaning. Why do these numbers matter? Because they are the architecture of our reality, the silent drumbeat that orders our days, our rituals, our sense of place in the cosmos. To see them is to step behind the curtain, to glimpse the mind of the builder, the weaver of worlds. But the real secret is this: these numbers, these forms, these cycles, they are not just out there. They are within you. The body is built on the same code. The mind resonates with the same cycles. The breath and the heartbeat are microcosms of the greater rhythms. Let's continue our journey, deeper into the cycles of time and the architecture of the cosmos. If the sacred numbers are the alphabet, Then the great cycles of the heavens are the sentences, the living stories written across the sky and engraved into the stones and temples of our ancestors. Pause and consider, what is a day, really? Beyond sunrise and sunset, it is one turn of the earth on its axis. The year, the full journey around the sun. But the ancients saw more, motions within motions, rhythms braided together. The third great cycle is the precession of the equinoxes, the slow, majestic wobble of Earth's axis, tracing a circle in the sky over 25,120 years. This is the great year, the cosmic clock that resets the celestial ages. Why is 25,920 so important? Divide it by 4, and you get 6,480, the dodecahedron's secret. Each quarter is one season of the great year, corresponding to a shift in the cosmic climate. The zodiacal ages, Pisces, Aquarius, Taurus, are not simply astrology. They're a record of Earth moving through a cosmic mandala. Now break down the great year into months. 12 zodiacal signs, each about 2,160 years. Recognize this number? It's the same as the cube's total degrees. This is no accident. The cube, the stable foundation, is encoded into the rhythm of history, the order of ages. The ancients built calendars to synchronize their lives to these cycles. Most ran 2 calendars, a secular one of 365.25 days, our solar year, and a sacred year of 360 days. The 5-day difference was marked with special rituals, days outside of time, set aside as a cosmic reset. The Sumerians, who gave us the 360-degree circle, saw each degree as a day, mapping the year onto the geometry of the heavens. This was not just mathematics, it was ritual, alignment, a way to walk in step with the cosmos. Let's look at the sacred division of the year through the lens of geometry. 1 decan, 10 days, is 14,400 minutes. Recall the recurring 144, the square of 12, the measure of time, the dimensions of a square foot. 3 decans, or 30 days, is 43,200 minutes, echoing the half-day in seconds, the pulse of the cosmos. The sacred numbers don't just repeat, they scale, linking the minute and the millennium, the foot and the world. When the ancients referenced a Platonic month as 2,160 years, or a season of the great year as 6,480, they weren't making things up. These weren't arbitrary. They were aligning human time with the geometry of space, using the same code that builds the solids and spins the galaxies. What about the Sumerians and their antediluvian kings, those rulers before the flood with reigns of 36,000, 43,200, 64,800 years? These numbers sound mythical, but they're not random. They're permutations of the same sacred numbers, multiples of 72, 432, 648. Even the total span, 432,000 years, mirrors the length of the Kali Yuga in the Vedas, the great cycle of darkness and renewal. The Vedic time cycles are another layer. The Mahayuga is 4,320,000 years, the same 432 raised in magnitude. The Kali Yuga, the present age, is 432,000 years. The sequence of the ages, Kali, Dvapara, Treta, Satya, follow ratios of 1, 2, 3, 4, revealing the same harmonic architecture found in music, architecture, and the Platonic solids. Here's the hidden truth. These numbers, rather than being mere mythology, signal a global system of knowledge, an ancient canon of numerology and symbolism. They are mnemonics, memory aids, mythic containers for cycles too vast for any one culture to measure directly. When you see 144,000 in the Book of Revelation, or 108 in the spacing of Buddhist beads, or 432,000 in the span of world ages, you're seeing echoes of the same mathematical DNA. Why does this matter? Because number is the bridge between the visible and the invisible. To measure is to participate in the cosmic order, to align your life, your rituals, your architecture, your sense of purpose. With these numbers is to step into the dance of the universe itself. Let's bring this home. The numbers embedded in our clocks, our calendars, our systems of measurement, feet, miles, yards, inches, seconds, are not arbitrary. The foot, divided into 12 inches, the mile as 5,280 feet, the square foot as 144 square inches. These are not just British quirks. They are echoes of a much older order, a legacy of the ancient architects and timekeepers who encoded cosmic proportions into the very way we move and build. Now we arrive at the architecture of the solar system itself. The sun's radius is 432,000 miles. Its diameter, 864,000. The moon's diameter is 2,160 miles, matching the cube's geometry and the length of a zodiacal age. The Earth's diameter, measured through the tropics, is 7,920 miles. Again, a harmonic of 792, one of our sacred numbers. Do you see the pattern? These numbers taken together create a system, a code that links the orbit of the Earth, the cycles of the sun and moon, and the rhythms of time. The foot, the mile, the furlong, the cubit. These units of measurement were not invented at random. They are echoes of cosmic proportions, a way for human beings to walk in step with the world. This is the living geometry of time and space. The ancients knew it. Their rituals, their calendars, their stories, even their myths of floods and world ages were ways of encoding and transmitting this knowledge. To measure was to remember, to keep the code alive. The next time you look at a clock, a measuring tape, or a calendar, remember, you are touching the legacy of the sacred number, the living memory of the universe speaking through the language of time and space. We have seen how sacred numbers pulse through time and law. Now let's step into the sacred spaces themselves, the living monuments to the universal code. These aren't just relics of vanished civilizations. They are silent witnesses, repositories of knowledge, and invitations to awakening. If you want to know how a culture saw itself in relation to the cosmos, look to its temples, its megaliths, its city plans. Let's begin with the most iconic of all, the Great Pyramid of Giza. For centuries, it has stood as a riddle in stone, its dimensions and alignments hinting at a knowledge so vast it seems almost superhuman. Mainstream history places its construction around 4,200 years ago, but recent studies, like those of geologist Robert Schoch, suggest that the erosion patterns on the Sphinx and the plateau's ancient quarrying may reach back 9,000 years or more. Some evidence hints at a date even older, perhaps 20,000 years, a crack in the official edifice of history that invites us to reconsider everything. Regardless of its precise age, the pyramid encodes information about the Earth's shape and dimensions that rivals our modern satellite measurements. Its base, measured along the original casing stones, gives us two values. One, the inner core's base, and one including the socket, the original foundation. The perimeter of the pyramid's base, scaled up by 43,200, is almost exactly the Earth's polar circumference. The height of the pyramid, multiplied by the same factor, gives the polar radius of the Earth within mere hundreds of feet of modern measurements. Astonishing, given that the planet itself is constantly flexing and shifting. This is not numerology for its own sake. It's evidence that some ancient intelligence, call it a priesthood, a guild of master builders, or an inherited wisdom from a lost civilization, understood the shape and size of the Earth with a precision we only regained in the last century. The pyramid, then, is more than a tomb or a monument. It's a model of the Earth, a harmonization of heaven and ground, and an ongoing invitation to remember. The Parthenon in Athens carries the same legacy. Its base is 100 Greek feet wide, each foot about 1.0129 of our modern feet. The latitude of Athens, just shy of 38 degrees north, means that 1 second of arc at that latitude is 101.1449 feet, within a fraction of an inch of the Parthenon's width. The temple is quite literally 1 arc second of the Earth's circumference at its latitude. This is not a lucky guess, but a deliberate act, a sign that the builders knew not only their craft, but the world beneath their feet. The same patterns are found in Gothic cathedrals. Each was designed with its own cubit, a unit derived from the meridian length at the cathedral's latitude. The cathedral becomes a resonator, its stones singing in tune with the earth, its spires and arches aligning with the sky. The builders, whether or not they could measure the earth themselves, inherited the wisdom of those who could. This sacred geodetic knowledge is not confined to the old world. In the Americas, the Mayan calendar encoded cycles of 144,000 days. The Baktun, a sacred span linking earth, sky, and time. The alignments of their temples, the proportions of their plazas, and even their myths all point to the same universal canon of numbers. If this is not coincidence, then what are the implications? It means that we are heirs to a legacy, one that stretches beyond the boundaries of any one civilization, culture, or language. It means that the knowledge of the earth, its shape, its cycles, and its resonance was preserved, sometimes hidden, sometimes encoded in myth or symbol, but always present, ready for those with eyes to see. Let's look at measurement systems. The mile, derived from the Latin mille passuum, 1,000 paces, measures 5,280 feet. The furlong, used in biblical and English tradition, is 660 feet. Multiply by 12 to get inches, and you find the furlong is 7,120 inches, matching the Earth's diameter in miles. The pace, the foot, the mile, and the city are not arbitrary. They are fractal echoes of the same cosmic code. The Book of Revelation describes the New Jerusalem as a city that lieth foursquare, 12,000 furlongs on a side. Multiply it out, and you find 7,920,000 feet. Again, the same number in the Earth's diameter. The wall is 144 cubits, the same number that recurs in the square foot, the minute in a day, and the cycles of time. The city, the body, the earth, all entwined by the same proportions. Why did the ancients construct their worlds this way? Because they believed that to build in harmony with the cosmos was to invite order, health, and meaning. The temple was not just a house for the gods. It was a tuning fork, a resonant field, a place where heaven and earth met in stone. Modern skepticism may dismiss this as mere coincidence, as the wishful thinking of mystics. But as the numbers stack, as redundancies pile up, the burden shifts. If these are mere accidents, why do they occur across cultures, continents, and millennia, using different languages and tools, but the same core numbers? The more plausible answer is that the code is real, and that for those who know how to see, it is still available. So what does this mean for us, here now? It means that we, too, can participate in the living geometry. Every time we build, measure, design, or even walk, we are echoing the ancient rhythms. Our paces, our homes, our rituals, our celebrations are part of the same cosmic dance. But there is a deeper invitation. The geometry is not just in the stones or the stars. It is in the mind, a template for consciousness itself. When you meditate on a mandala, pace out a circle, build a harmonious space, or simply align your breath with the rhythm of the day, you become a node of coherence. You awaken the code within, and you become a participant, no longer an observer, in the cosmic order. The monuments remain. They are our inheritance. They are the measuring lines of the prophets, the walls of the holy city, the music of the spheres made visible. They are the silent teachers, inviting us to remember what it means to live in resonance. As we move forward, let's turn from stone and soil to sound and symbol. If sacred geometry is the architecture of matter, then language, spoken or written, is the architecture of mind. And just as the ancients embedded the code of number and proportion in their monuments, they encoded it in their alphabets, their myths, and their most sacred texts. The universal language is not only geometry, but also the mathematics of language itself. Before the world spoke in Arabic numerals, alphabets carried numbers by design. In Hebrew, Greek, and many other ancient systems, every letter was also a number. Aleph was 1, Bet was 2, Gimel was 3, and so on. The same was true for Greek: Alpha, Beta, Gamma, Delta. So words, names, prayers, and texts were not random strings of characters, but mathematical compositions, vibrations, and codes, containers for cosmic meaning. Consider the Greek word for truth, aletheia. Add up the values of its letters, and you get 72, one of our key sacred numbers, a divisor of the great year, a number echoed in the pulse of all the cycles we've explored. The word katabola, meaning conception or creation, totals 432, the number encoded in Vedic time, in Sumerian king lists, and in the cycles of the sun and the octave of music. The holy city, Jerusalem, when spelled in Greek Yerushalayim, adds to 864, the sacred number of the sun's diameter in thousands of miles. The Temple of Immortality, when spelled in Greek, also totals 864. The Holy Ghost in Greek, Pneumahagion, adds to 1080, the sacred number of the moon's radius in miles. The Fountain of Wisdom in Greek, Peges Sophias, also reaches 1080. Even in the book of Revelation, numbers are not random, they're codes. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. For centuries, fear has clouded this verse. But step past the superstition, and something more elegant emerges. The Earth itself moves through space at 66,600 miles per hour, cosmic motion written in the same digits. Humanity's body is built on carbon-12, the most common isotope of carbon, with its architecture of 6 protons, 6 neutrons, and 6 electrons. The beast, then, is not a monster lurking outside us. It is the veil of matter, the cipher of incarnation, a reminder that beneath the surface of form lies order, geometry, pattern, a hidden coherence waiting to be seen. Language and scripture, then, are not just containers for belief. They are blueprints for reality, invitations to see the world as an interwoven field of resonance, vibration, and proportion. The mystics of the Kabbalah practiced gematria, deriving meaning from the sum of letters, seeking the numerical signature hidden in every word. The Greeks did the same, as did the Vedic sages of India, who encoded cosmological cycles in hymns, stories, and mantras. The Vedas, the oldest sacred texts still in use, speak of the great year, the Mahayuga, of 4,320,000 years. This is 432, raised to a higher octave, the same numbers we've seen in the sun, the day, the cycles of kings and yugas. The Vedic Kali Yuga is 432,000 years, the same as the final reign in the Sumerian king list, the same as the number of seconds in a day, echoing across continents and traditions. Why does language matter in the geometry of consciousness? Because to speak a word is to set a frequency into motion. To read a sacred text is to participate in a vibrational field, to align oneself, consciously or not, with the sacred numbers embedded in the code. Rituals, prayers, chants, and even the structure of liturgy are all built on sequences, repetitions, and proportions. The new song, sung by the 144,000 in Revelation, is not just a hymn, but a shift in frequency, a change in consciousness, a recalibration to the new geometry of the age. The connection between number, word, and world runs deeper still. In every tradition, creation begins with sound, with the word. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The Word is not only speech, but the principle of ordering, the logos, the pattern maker. To name is to bring into being, to echo the first act of creation. Our modern world forgets this connection. We treat language as utility, numbers as tools, stories as diversions. But the ancients knew that words, numbers, and symbols are all interwoven threads in the tapestry of being. The architecture of the mind is built from the same code as the architecture of the cosmos. So what does this mean for you? It means that every time you speak, read, or write, even in your most casual moment, you are participating in the geometry of consciousness. Words can be carelessly scattered, or they can be used with awareness, resonance, and intention. The stories you tell, the prayers you recite, the names you choose, these are not trivial. They are acts of creation, echoes of the ancient code. The study of sacred language, then, is the study of coherence, of aligning the mind and the world, of speaking and living in harmony with the architecture of existence. The more you practice this, the more you begin to sense when a word is true, when a story resonates, when a ritual aligns with the field. It is a living practice, and it is available to you right now. If the first language was number and the first scripture was geometry, then the first temple is your own body. The sacred code is not just out there, it lives within you. The same numbers that measure the spin of the earth, the orbits of the planets, and the architecture of the pyramids are inscribed in your heartbeat, your breath, your stride, and your very DNA. Let's make this real. Recall the numbers we've traced: 144, 432, 720, 1440, 2160, 7920, 12,960, 25,920. These are not only cosmic cycles, they are the minutes in a day, the degrees in a circle, the inches in a furlong, the beats in a sacred chant, and the patterns of cell division and growth. Take your breath as a starting point. A calm, coherent breath cycle, 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out, yields 6 breaths per minute, 360 breaths an hour, another echo of the circle. Your pulse, your circadian rhythms, the flow of cerebrospinal fluid through your spine all oscillate in cycles that mirror the geometry of the cosmos. Movement is geometry embodied. The stride of your walk, the arc of your arm, the proportions of your hand, and the ratio of your foot to your height, these all echo the same patterns found in the Parthenon and Great Pyramid. Each step you take is a living fractal of the same code that built the world. Pause and look around your space. The square footage of your room, the height of your ceiling, the table divided by a golden rectangle, or the spiral staircase. These are not arbitrary. Even if the designers were unaware, the code finds its way into the environment, seeking harmony. When you arrange your environment to reflect circles, spirals, symmetry, and balance, you are tuning your field to the same harmonics as the ancient temples. The mind, too, runs on the code. Modern neuroscience shows that the brain's oscillations, the alpha, beta, theta, delta waves, move in frequencies that echo sacred numbers. Meditation, chanting, and rhythmic movement entrain the mind to these frequencies, bringing the inner landscape into resonance with the outer world. Let's talk about ritual. Every culture has rituals of time: sunrise prayers, noon meals, evening meditations, seasonal festivals, and rites of passage. These rituals are not only social, they are geometries of time that align the individual and the collective with the cosmic cycles. Lighting a candle at dawn, sharing a meal at sunset, walking a labyrinth, chanting a mantra 108 times. All of these are ways of living the code. Sound, too, is living geometry. When you chant AUM or sing in harmony, your vocal cords create standing waves, patterns that organize the air, the water in your body, even the space around you. Ancient and modern sound healers use tuning forks, crystal bowls, or binaural beats to align the nervous system, restore coherence, and unlock creativity. The frequency 432 Hz, often called the cosmic tuning, is an echo of the same numbers that shape the sun, the moon, and the day. Even your habits and routines can be organized by the code. The Pomodoro technique of 25 minutes on, 5 minutes off echoes the sacred ratios of time. The most productive work and learning cycles follow patterns of focus and rest that mirror the cycles of the breath, the heartbeat, the day and night, the lunar month, the seasons. But the code is more than routine. It is the art of bringing beauty, harmony, and meaning into your life. When you sit at a round table, eat from a circular plate, drink from a vessel that spirals inward then opens, you are participating in the geometry of abundance and flow. When you decorate your space with mandalas, sacred symbols, or even just arrange objects with balance and intention, you reinforce your connection to the field. Community is coherence multiplied. When people gather in a circle, when conversations flow in turn rather than clash head-on, when music, movement, and ritual are shared, coherence grows. The energetic field of a group can be measured, felt, and even amplified. This is why ancient and modern communities gather in circles, sing together, dance together, and tell stories in rhythm and rhyme. There's a deeper invitation as well. The numbers and patterns are not just nice to know, they are tools for healing. When life feels chaotic, when you feel fragmented or lost, returning to the code through breath, sound, movement, measurement, or ritual brings coherence. It restores your sense of place, purpose, and connection. You do not need to be a mathematician or mystic to use the code. It is already living in you. Each time you notice a pattern, honor a rhythm, or create beauty, you are participating in the universal language. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes. Coherence is not a rigid structure, but a living field, a dance of order and flow. The greatest secret, as above, so below, as within, so without. Your body, your mind, your community, your culture, your planet, and your cosmos are all woven from the same fabric. When you honor the code in your life, you resonate with the greater field. Harmony, creativity, and well-being are not accidents. They are the fruits of living in tune with the silent music of the spheres. You have journeyed far, from the silent code embedded in cycles of time to the stones of ancient monuments, from the mathematics of language and myth to the living geometry in your own body and breath. What began as curiosity has become a revelation, a recognition that you too are woven into the fabric of the cosmos. The code is not only something to study, it is something to inhabit, to live, to embody. This is where the Coherence Codex becomes more than knowledge. It becomes practice. It becomes an art, a way of seeing and living that is both ancient and utterly new. At the heart of the code is participation. The ancients did not simply observe the sky or build temples for the gods. They aligned their lives, their rituals, their architecture, their stories, and their communities to the rhythms of the cosmos. They did not separate science from spirit or math from meaning. They experienced the world as a living field of relationships, every part echoing the whole. This is the invitation for you now, to step into the role of architect, artist, and steward of coherence in your own life. Begin with awareness. Each morning, before you leap into doing, pause. Pay attention to the cycles around you, the quality of the light, the rhythm of your breath, the spiral of your thoughts. Set an intention to notice the code today, in the patterns of leaves, in the intervals of music, in the symmetry of faces, in the architecture of your city. Bring the code into your actions. When you plan your day, design your space, or prepare a meal, let harmony guide you. Arrange objects in circles or spirals. Set your table with balance. Choose colors and textures that resonate with nature's palette. Each small act is a vote for coherence. Honor the code in your relationships. Listen deeply, speak with intention, move through conflict as if navigating a labyrinth, always seeking the center. When you gather with others, create circles of chairs, of voices, of hearts. Ritualize meetings and celebrations with music, food, and movement that echo the cycles of the sun, the moon, and the seasons. Make time for silence and contemplation. Sacred geometry is as much about space as it is about form. Allow gaps, pauses, and emptiness in your schedule, your speech, your mind. In the silence, the code becomes audible, the harmony of all that is behind the noise. Let curiosity guide you further. Study the monuments, the cathedrals, the temples, the maps, and the myths of every culture. Sit with a spiral shell, a pine cone, a snowflake. Trace the Fibonacci sequence in a sunflower, or the golden ratio in a painting or face. Learn the basic forms with ruler and compass: circle, triangle, square, pentagon, hexagon. Draw them, build them, walk them. As you do, you will feel the code come alive in your hands and eyes. Remember, coherence is not perfection. It is the art of returning, of noticing when life feels dissonant or fragmented, and gently bringing yourself, your space, your relationships, and your practice back into alignment. It is a dance of attention, a process of ongoing refinement. The more you live it, the more natural it becomes. Coherence is also collective. As more people remember the code through art, through ritual, through architecture, through science, through intention, the field itself grows stronger. The cities of the future, the technologies we invent, the ways we care for the earth and one another will all be shaped by those who remember and embody the code. This is not fantasy. We see it already wherever people gather in circles for dialogue, wherever eco-builders orient homes to the sun, wherever musicians tune to the frequency of the earth and cycles of the day, wherever storytellers weave ancient myths with new meaning, wherever healers restore the breath and pulse to their natural rhythm. These are the architects of coherence, living bridges between past and future, matter and spirit, self and other, earth and sky. The code is universal, but your expression is unique. Let your own geometry reveal itself through your gifts, your art, your work, your relationships, your dreams. Find the pattern that brings you joy and meaning and offer it to the world. This is how coherence multiplies, not through control or uniformity, but through resonance, the harmony of many voices singing the same underlying song. As you walk forward from here, remember that the living code is as close as your next breath, your next gesture of beauty, your next act of kindness. The numbers, forms, and cycles are guideposts, not prisons. Let them inspire you, not confine you. Let them lead you deeper into wonder, connection, and creative agency. This is your invitation. The Coherence Codex is not a closed book. It is a living discipline, a practice, a path. You are its next chapter, its author, its steward, its unfolding story. May you walk in harmony, create in beauty, and remember always that you are the living codex.